Hey, back again. And what you're seeing on the screen is teacher view, not student view, so there will be small differences. But I just wanted to touch base with you about that first assignment. Now, in previous iterations of this class, there's actually been something due on the first day, but we haven't done that to you this time. Even so, it's going to be really important that you start thinking about your assignments in order to really make things work. So let me take you into the assignment area. Like I said, I can see a couple of things here that you can't see, but otherwise it looks pretty much the same. And you'll see here that assignment 1 is it's basically due on the 4th of September, you will see. And assignment 2 is due on the 15th of August, which is actually part of, the final part of that is due then. There's actually some of it will be done in class. Part of it will be done in class, but the actual, what you get assessed on will be done, needs to be done by the 15th of August, and then the 22nd of August. So in this funny kind of setup, assignment 1 is due last, but we've called it assignment 1 for a reason, and that is because you need to start on it first. And so you will basically start on them in this order, not necessarily finish on them in this order. So the first assignment, or the first one you start, is an individual research report and review of a design brief. And essentially, it's worth 30% of your overall mark, and it's due on the 4th of September, Hanoi time. Now, I want to apologise with some of these materials. Some of you got in early. There was a bit of a mix-up. As you can see, based on this setting here, I'm setting everything up in Australia, and sometimes the time differences, I've either not picked them up or it's just done funny things along the way. So sometimes things have shown up as being due a day earlier or a day later. That's because I am currently in the future. But I will be in the present and with you very, very soon. So basically with this assignment, you'll see with each of the assignments quite a lot of information here. It can get a little bit overwhelming, but I think what is really important is to just understand, well, how it fits together. And of course, we'll talk about them in class, but what I wanted to do is really highlight what you're doing. So basically, you're going to undertake background research to better understand the nature of a design challenge. You're not actually going to make recommendations here, but what you're going to do is really do a deep dive into the nature of the problem and think about the ways that design thinking could work. And so again, you don't know what design thinking really is yet until you've done the reading, but it's a good idea to think about this assignment while you're doing the reading, because it'll contextualize and help you think about, well, why might this be important? So basically what you're going to do for this assignment is identify an area, ideally in your life, something that you can connect with, that you've got opportunities to talk to people about, to interview people, to use design thinking tools to understand better. So you're going to identify what we call a wicked problem. Now, we'll talk quite a lot about wicked problems on the first day of the course. And if you go into the resource list, I made another video just a few minutes ago, an earlier video that talks to you about where to find the resources for students. You go into modules, and then in the getting started, there is a resource list available to you. In the section that is called what is, you'll find there's a lot of materials there that will be really helpful for this assignment overall. The what is stage, and when we talk about the way that Liedeke and Ogilvy in particular describe design thinking, the what is stage is the first stage where we're really trying to define, understand, and frame the problem. And so this assignment is about defining, understanding, and framing a problem. So those resources will be super useful to you. Now, there's some big bold letters here. Ideally, that was an actual cough. I don't have COVID. I've just been talking too much today, and I just was eating salty biscuits. Ideally, you will have identified a problem that you're interested in exploring, and you will prepare a problem statement. Now, the reading that you have Leedick and Ogilvy in the growth textbook step out the process for creating a problem statement. Now, if you don't do it, it doesn't matter. We will go through and we will do this in class over the 4 days. But if you start with something that you think is pretty good, you're going to learn so much more, because as we go through it, you'll either know you were right from the beginning, but more likely what will happen is you will have the opportunity to reflect on and deal with the nuance of the differences between your first guess and what it is that we actually do. So what you're going to try and do is create a problem statement. So how do you do that? You're going to read the readings first, and you're going to try and identify a problem. Like I said, a problem that you care about is most likely to be a problem that you'll be able to stick with, you'll be able to do a good job with. If you're not interested in your problem, it's really hard for you to write an interesting paper for us. So it can be a big problem or a little problem. It can be something to do with where you're working now. If you are working, it could be something to do with the society or your neighborhood. It could be something that you see in a brand that you're familiar with and that you know well. There are some really great areas for thinking about these kinds of problems. So you can think about it from the point of view of how the world has changed since COVID. We were all, a year ago working from home, locked down. Our world was very different. And so a problem around how might we take the best things out of that experience to make our work lives better now would be a really interesting problem, I think. It might be something to do with just the way that your business works. Is there a particular pain point that your business is experiencing now, maybe about the way payments are made, or about keeping staff engaged, or really anything that you like. So as you're doing the reading and you're seeing the different kinds of problems that design thinking has been applied to, think, well, how could that work in my business or in an area or an industry that I'm interested in? So ideally, you'll be able to explain why you consider the problem to be a wicked problem. So we're looking for a difficult, complex systems problem here, not a straightforward problem. Now, as I'm reading that, I'm realizing that's a little unfair, that you should be able to explain that, because I've moved the reading on wicked problems into reading that you can sort of do as we go. But pop into the what is stage and have a look at the materials on wicked problems. Have a think about it if you have time. But you certainly will be in a position from the readings that you have to really think about why this might be a human-centered or design problem. And so really think about that, be ready to answer those ideas. You're also going to need to think about these kind of questions. What's unique about the business or the industry that you want to focus on? Why is this problem interesting, complex, systems-based? How did this problem arise? And who does the problem affect? So who are the core stakeholders? So start thinking about all of these. You'll find links to this again in the resources list. The companion book to the text that you've been asked to read is called the Growth Field Book. It is very straightforward and it contains a number of tools and models for doing these things. So again, if you can do some of this before the class, that is absolutely perfect. It's turned out for a range of reasons you haven't had access to the materials until now. It is quite likely that many of you won't have time to do that in any meaningful way. Again, that's okay, because we will step through it in the class and we will build this up to create your assignments. But there is so much value in having a go and thinking about the assignments first, because it will help you actually see how the things that you're learning apply in real life, and the value of reflecting and iterating and changing. So ultimately, once we've finished the intensive, you're going to be challenged to go back again and evolve this even further. We'll spend some time with the library. I'll give you some tips and tricks for particularly doing the research around the unique characteristics of your industry. I think that you'll find that this is a really useful and interesting assignment for you, because it will help you apply what you're learning in this class immediately to the work that you're doing. So you can go back to work on Tuesday, essentially with some frameworks for thinking about a problem and solving it that directly impact your business. So really important that you get started and get thinking about this. Really looking forward to meeting you next week, and we'll see you then. Cheers.